Our home in Tucson, Arizona, it's called Rincon East and it's over 55 Park. It was very nice and very quiet.
Good morning, we are in Saguaro National Park. Eastern section. Two distinct parts of this park, so close to Tucson, Arizona. We have the eastern and the western side. So today we're going to do some driving and some looking and a bit of walking. And apparently on the other side there's like 30 species of unique desert flower that are blooming at the moment, which is going to be fantastic. So there'll be insects and birds. And we had a fantastic yesterday afternoon at the apple shop.
Yes, we got all that sorted.
All our concerns were taken care of by the wonderful staff at the apple shop over at a beautiful mall.
We're in the Sonoran Desert and we're taking a tour with Greg, one of the volunteer parks and wildlife people here, who's showing around this magnificent country, showing us some of the details that we probably would have missed about the landscape and the wildlife and the plants. There's saguaros everywhere, cholla cactus, the wildflowers are out, sun's coming out. It's a wonderful, wonderful park.
The trunk, that's another bad sign. 3 arms have fallen off halfway. One arm fell off 4 years ago at the end. And I can point out that it's not a very good one. It's called the chain fruit cholla.
Okay.
C-H-A-I-N. Chain fruit cholla. It also has a nickname that I fell for, hook, line, and sinker. It's called the jumping cholla.
That's the one.
The jumping cholla is desert mythology. It doesn't jump. Here's the deal. The bond between the segments, very flimsy.
Okay.
You brush it, and it's yours.
Yeah.
Still can't tell if that's going to be another pad or if that's going to be a flower. Like this one seems a little farther along. This looks like it's going to be another pad right now. These will flower roughly a month from now. And it's really, there could be stretches of this trail that are really pretty. Here's the thing about the prickly pear. Here's one reason why they love it too. The moisture is very close to the surface. You scratch these and it's moist. And for some of them, I think the kangaroo rat, it's its primary source of moisture is the prickly pear. Many needles.
Oh, yes.
That's the other.
And look at this. Now, it did jump.
There you go.
Well, I went, well, let's just see how, and that's rubber.
Yeah.
And they have got, I mean, they're in there, so this is going to take a little bit of manipulation, but they are.
It's a pack rat.
It's
It's called a pack rat midden, M-I-D-D-E-N.
collection of fruits.
And their home is actually underneath the ground. And what they do is they put these cholla segments on the top to try to persuade the coyotes.
Not there.
Don't come digging for me. Where to begin? Usually in late April, you'll see the end of each of those arms and the top start to get buds. there might be 10, 15, sometimes as many as 20 buds at the end of an arm and at the top. Into a nice pretty white flower the first week of May. In June they become fruit, and in July they start decaying and the seeds fall to the desert floor. Each flower slash fruit will have several hundred or maybe 1,000 seeds. So think how many seeds are going to be just from that one saguaro. Anyway, think of a saguaro that roughly might be flowering for a century. And think of each little flower, fruit, having about 500 to 1,000 seeds for a century. So we'll have an average saguaro that'll produce 4 or 5 million seeds in that century.
This is a one-way road around the park. It's used by cyclists, runners and walkers, and sometimes cars. Very, very, very pretty drive.
Just done a really interesting tour with Greg, a volunteer park worker. He's been doing this walk for a long time, and he's very informative and good fun fella, and he met some other good people there. So we're driving through now. We're going to head out and see the mission.
Yep, San Xavier Mission.
It's a really cool park. There's lots to see. It's really stunning. There's more plant life here than you would think for a quote-unquote desert. The saguaros are absolutely spectacular. They grow for well over 150, 180 years. They get up to about 80 feet tall. They contain something like 200 gallons of water within their bodies. They grow very, very slowly. Certainly fantastic little loop drive around here. This national park, national area, right on the border of Tucson.
We have just left Saguaro East, where we're sitting down for a Vegemite sandwich, how Australian, and this bloke's talking in with an accent, and he's going, "Hey mate, where you from?" He goes, "Oh, I'm from bloody Australia, mate." We're like, "Yeah, that's awesome. And what did you used to do for a living?" And I said, "I fixed aeroplanes. I was in the Australian Air Force." He said, "No way. When were you there?" I said, "I joined in 77. He said, "This is getting really creepy that you're a Mirage boy." And I said, "No, sir, I work for a living. I was on F-111s. His daughter, who was 22, started going off her cruet. She's going, "No way, I hear about this all the time." So what happens, we start talking, lo and behold, he's an ex-pig pilot. I used to fix them, he used to fly them. Then we've just walked here to San Xavier Mission, and our dear friend Keith Yoda's here with his daughter. It's one of those days.
What did you think of the saguaros?
They're beautiful, aren't they?
Aren't they amazing?
On our way back to the RV park, we drove past the Pima Air and Space Museum, which we'd visited a few days earlier. You can see the aircraft from the road.
It's a jacket painted in
This is the Davis-Monthan Air Force Base Boneyard. This is where aircraft are stored for many years until they're needed. There is a reported over 4,400 aircraft stored here permanently. You need to pre-book at least 28 days in advance so that you can get your passport and your authenticity checked before you're allowed onto the tour.
We are in the Saguaro National Park, but we are on the western side of it today. A little bit of rain last night, freshened everything else up. Beautiful. I've even got my big camera out for the first time in a while because I've been concentrating on doing this for y'all. We're in the Tucson mountains. There's a huge valley in front of me. Lots more saguaro here than on the eastern side, but still nice. It's just a different environment, different levels of waterfall. So the lovely ranger told us on our beautiful walk. So we're just going to walk and enjoy. Most of the wildflowers should be out at this time of year. It is lovely. Really is lovely. Lots of these saguaros have got holes in them, and that's the woodpeckers. Woodpeckers knock the holes in and then they vacate and go somewhere else, and another bird takes up residence. This is a saguaro, and when we did our field trip with the park ranger, he pointed some of these features out to us which were really interesting, and this one looks like it's been exploded. Looks like it's been the tallest bunny in the pack. They get two rain seasons here. They get winter rain and the summer rain. They classify one as monsoons, and the rains can be very heavy, violent storms, lots of thunder and lightning. And when you're this tall, like his buddy here or some of the others around, you're going to be a lightning rod. And this one looks like it's blown up. There's just things everywhere. And if you have a look at these, yeah, sounds like wood. So Lee will follow me. You just follow me over here. So this is another one that looks like it's just gone down and fallen down. It's a really good little area in here because we're starting to see a lot of the plants, companion plants or parent plants or buddy plant, whatever you want to call it. The winters get cold, so the environment underneath or close to a tree is going to be better for the developing saguaro. And then in Arizona in summer, 120 degrees in the shade, as they say. But if that plant has got some shade, it's got a better chance of developing into one of these magnificent specimens that we see around us now. Just climbed up this little rise to get a view. There's mountains over here, there's a huge valley, lovely mountains just off to my left. It is colourful, absolutely lit up with lemon yellow all over. There's so much to see. And poor little eyes getting readjusted into the desert here in the Sonoran Desert, which extends all the way down into Baja. I'm seeing lots of teddy bear cholla buds all over the floor here, which means there's some people that are being rather careless, or there's some creatures up here. Beautiful stand of barrel cacti, all sort of indicating off to the south as they do. one of nature's built-in compasses. There's little saguaros here, about 1 foot tall, 2 foot tall. There's little chipmunks, little lizards are out. We're right on the cusp of reptiles coming out and saying g'day. There's a couple of types of choya here. Choya are all segmented, so we've been told. And the last one with the lemony yellow right behind me, it's either the jumping or the teddy bear. And don't ask me how I know this, but they're very, very sharp. So biddies, don't be pointing your fingers on them. And I give it one a dooker with my walking stick. Has a little red end on it. And they just stuck in there like you wouldn't believe.
After a fantastic day out adventuring through these parks, we took this wonderful scenic drive home over through the mountains and down to the east side of Tucson, Arizona.
We are back in Saguaro National Park, the eastern side, western side yesterday. It's just on 8. Pretty much got the place to ourselves. And we're just coming out to see what we can find this morning. It's beautiful blue sky. The weather's on the turn. There's not a breeze. We've already seen some critters running around the road. So, yeah. It's pretty nice. Yes, off to the kilns. I've just rested my phone very gently on the very robust spines of this barrel cactus, just to demonstrate. If you can see my compass on my phone, it's pointing to the south, and they generally all do. Another thing we learnt when we did our ranger talk was, and I really like these, I'll try and point but I won't get my fingers. If you have a look, we've got these vertical pleats. Well, every now and then when the saguaro plant feels the need, it throws in an additional one here, and that's to add more support to the structure as it grows. If we go around the back side of the plant, ouch! So we might put this in the outtakes. We were talking to a lady from Minnesota, so she had a cracking accent, and dropped my camera, cracked the screen protector coming in 2 days' time. Yeah, I didn't even say dang it. So we're on the lime kiln loop, part of the many walks that you can do in the Saguaro National Park, and we are just descending down towards, I don't know, a draw or a gully. We'll see if there's any lime kilns here, but you can see the size of the trees here. So when we think of desert, I guess we're thinking of the traditional, maybe Saharan desert, and oh look. So up in the hills behind me are all the resources, and down in this gully that you need to make quick lime. And they needed lime because the railway got here in the 1800s, and with that there's a modernisation of Tucson. There's old adobe shacks, they want to put plaster, they want to do them up, they need bricks, they need mortar, and because of that you need quick lime. So the guys here were working 24 hours a day, getting a buck a day back in the day, and it needs about 15 cords of wood. Yes, I'm reading this off the board because I can't remember all this. At least 2 wagon loads for each batch of lime. And if you know what a cord is, bang it in the comments so yours truly can be educated. My job was to load limestone rocks on wagons, cut green mesquite wood for fire, and rake out lime. Limestone had to be hauled for the kilns. Joe Marino, 10 years old in 1917, his family were the last to use these kilns. Once cooled, caustic lime was bagged and shipped by wagon over dusty roads to Tucson's shops. We're in an area where there was an old ranger station, and there are clearly some big trees in this little area. And all around the big trees you can see there's saguaros. And it's a really good example of the saguaros using the bigger trees to protect them from the extremes of the climate. And then when they take a hold, they will eventually kill the tree.
We had 5 nights here in Tucson and barely touched the surface. We could spend a week or 2 here and do more walks in the national parks and discover the downtown area of Tucson, which we didn't do this time. Please like, subscribe and share our videos. Until next time in Sedona, take care.